unfortunately, far-right movements are not only getting stronger in Europe and in the US, but it's all around the world. Next, we move to India, where the ruling Hindu Nationalist Party is very far-right. But in India, we are witnessing the biggest, it's like mobilization movement of the human history, farmers movement, which started in August and will culminate now on the 26th of January in a few days to massive demonstrations. A film director, Q from Joint, and Joy, who is an actor and activist, will tell us directly from the ground that what is happening in India with the farmers movement, and artists play very active role in the farmers movement. Is basically they have established newspapers, they are supporting protesting farmers. But Joy and Q will tell you more about Indian situation with farmers movement.
Hello and greetings. I'm Q from India. I am a filmmaker and an artist. Much of my work has been about dissent and critiquing the way our country, my country, has been shifting. For over 20 years now, our elected governments have been promising us that we will be world-class day after tomorrow. Only now we begin to see that it's actually happening. We are truly world leaders now in the right-wing scheme of things. We have an able government that has successfully done what excellent fascist governments do. No surprises there. But how they do it is first class. The ruling party with a thumping majority, the BJP, the intricate and gigantic network of organizations, right-wing organizations called the RSS, that's the they. Led by image-making mastermind Mr. Narendra Modi, our Honorable Prime Minister. First, they validated crony capitalism. They systematically destabilized all the important democratic institutions, the judiciary, the banking system, the universities, the think tanks. But this is not new. What is new is that horse trading or buying elected officials post-election is now a legally valid political maneuver in India. What is new is that they subverted the parliamentary process to push through policy after policy that strike at the roots of our foundation. What is new is that hundreds of thousands of farmers are currently sitting in protest at almost every border of New Delhi, the capital of India. The farmers have been suffering for decades, fighting a terrible system, crushing poverty and corporate farming. Most of the farmers in India earn less than $50 a month, yet we are one of the top food-producing nations. And now the government has brought 3 new farm bills that are poised to take on whatever is left of the old farming system. These laws will not only affect the farmers, they will affect all of us, what we eat and how much we pay for it. The farmers have been sitting in protest since the last 55 days. They want the government to repeal these laws. We need to stand with them and with every activist and worker who's in jail right now, arrested and incarcerated by this corrupt government. We need to act now. This is for us, because otherwise all we shall have to eat is our words.
আমি যদি এ দেশের না হই তবে আমার বিড়ালটা কার?
मोदी सरकार कहती है कि ये कानून हम किसान के भले के लिए लाए। कौन से किसान ने आपसे ये करने की डिमांड की थी?
সপ্তম শ্রেণীতে এক বালিকা আমায় টিউবওয়েল থেকে জল খাওয়ায়। আমি মুখে জল ছিটিয়ে দিই 7-8 ফুট দূরে।
महिलाएं कभी पीछे नहीं हटती, वो साथ ही रहती हैं, कंधे से कंधा मिलाकर चलती हैं। इसलिए जब जीत के जाएंगे तो इकट्ठे आए हैं तो इकट्ठे ही जाएंगे।
আমি যদি এ দেশের না হই তবে সে জল আর হাসি কার?
कौन से किसान ने आपसे ये भला करने की डिमांड?
सारे अंदा जो लेना है ਅਸੀਂ ਹੱਕ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਡਾ ਮਿਲਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ।
খেলার মাঠে পেচ্ছাপ করতেও पिछली बार आपने देखा कि मतलब जब ट्रैक्टर मार्च हुआ था तो औरतें ट्रैक्टर चला के गई थी 26 जनवरी को ऐसे ही होगा औरतें भी जाएंगी ना जाने वाली तो कोई बात नहीं है
सारे आपदा जो
कौन से किसान ने आपसे ये भला करने की डिमांड की
खुशी खुशी जाएंगे रात करा के
আমি দেশকে মায়ের মতো ভালোবাসিনি
ਇਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ
দেশকে ভালোবেসেছি প্রেমিকার মতো
ਵੀ ਇਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲੋਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ
হস্তমৈথুনে উঠে আসা প্রথম শুক্রাণু মিশেছে এই দেশের মাটিতে
ਪਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਡਰਨ ਵਾਲੇ ਨਹੀਂ
আমার এই যৌনতা
ਅਸੀਂ
পাপ
ਆਪਣੀ ਪੈਰੀ
হলে
ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਵਾਂਗੇ
মারবে আমায় আমি যদি এই দেশের না হই তবে আমার সোহাগ আদর কার
खुशी खुशी
सारे आपदा जो लैण आए ਅਸੀਂ हक
कौन
ਸਾਨੂੰ
से
ਸਾਡਾ
किसान
मिलना
ने
चाहिए
आपसे ये भला करने की डिमांड की थी
जो ये कहता है कि नए कृषि सुधारों के बाद कृषि मंडियां समाप्त हो जाएगी तो वो किसानों से सरासर झूठ बोल रहा है
আমাকে তুমি কিভাবে মারবে
दिल्ली के अंदर जाएंगे अपनी परेड
গুলি করবে আমায়
दिल्ली के अंदर मनाएंगे
সে তো এই দেশের ছোট্ট
सरकार को अपील
একটা
करेंगे
শীষের
हम
দানা
शांतिपूर्वक हमारी
আমি
परेड
ভালোবেসে
हमारा कोई जनपद
বুকে
पे
নেব
राजपथ पे जाने का कोई विचार नहीं लोगों में ये भ्रम फैला रही है कि किसान जिद पे सरकार को चाहिए कि हमारे लिए राजनीति
আমি যদি এই দেশের না হই তবে এই
सरकार कर रही है
सारे आपदा जो लैण आए ਅਸੀਂ हक ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਡਾ मिलना
कौन
चाहिए
से किसान ने आपसे ये भला करने की डिमांड
हम
की
यहाँ पर बैठे हैं, आज कमजोर हो गए किसानों के दिल्ली जाने मीटिंग के लिए वो अपनी कमजोरी दिखा रहे हैं
যদি পুড়িয়ে মারো শেষ করে দাও সব চিহ্ন তাহলেও ধোঁয়ায় ধোঁয়ায় ছড়িয়ে যাব আসমানে আমি যদি দেশের না হই তবে ধোঁয়ায় ভরা আসমান আমার বেঁচে থাকা যদি এ দেশের না হয় তবে মৃতদেহ কার
It's
Can't hear. No.
Okay, we're waiting for a camera. There you go, please. Okay, now we're on the live stream. Thank you very much for your contributions, and we're very happy to have you here for the panel. We just had a little bit of we have some earlier and later panelists that are joining us. We have a Zoom kitchen where they're invited, and then they come to this space. It's quite a large-scale technical operation. I hope you're bearing with us, and we've had a lot of very positive comments in the YouTube, and we hope you continue to be with us.
So we'll hand over chairing this panel to Carminda McLaurin, who has been introduced for several times. So we want to introduce her again, and we want to welcome new panelist is Q and Joy, you just saw in the video.
We hope Jay is with us. I don't see him. But Q, thank you very much for joining us from India.
Hello. Hi. Thanks for having me.
Hi, Q.
Joy should be joining. He was in the other room, so just shifting rooms, I guess.
There are so many learnings now from all this virtual world. And this is going on. We
get lost in the maze.
It's going on great. And I guess there are so many learnings. Are we in a square now? Is this a virtual square? This is a good question maybe we can ask. How are you today, Marisa? Happy to see you again.
Yeah, I'm good. I think it's a kind of square. Sure. I mean,
public sphere. Right. So now we are talking again about the squares. I'm really happy to see these squares that emerged on the public scene in 2011 to re-emerge, and so that we are speaking about them again because they were marking so many spirits and minds, and you were really involved. And now Q, you're really involved also with farmers in India, and now it is the biggest protest in the history. If I'm right, what is going on now, Q, in the squares of India?
Yeah, well, there was a pushback from the government that happened a couple of days back. You know how we spoke in the video about the judiciary being compromised, about every sort of institution being compromised. So the judiciary and the government together pushed back a little, and they tried to delay the farm bills for about a year and a half. But this morning, the farmers have rejected that deal and have decided to carry on with the protest, including the massive demonstration that they're going to do on Republic Day, which is a tractor rally. It's such a cool thing. You know, we are talking about art and rebellion, and you know, we are looking at one of the biggest performance art projects in the history of mankind right now. The farmers are going to take their tractors and they're going to march the same streets that normally, I mean, the government will do that. The Republic Day parade is a show of might, and the army basically parades. And here you'll have the farmers following the army, coming with their tractors in and creating a spectacle that will take on as a challenge this, you know, this regime's power play and image play in a beautiful way.
Amazing, so inspiring. We were hearing Boaventura Sosa Santos a little bit earlier, and he talks a lot about epistemologies of the South and the importance of different voices. And so now in India, it is a perfect example on how different voices can be heard. So thank you a lot for sharing. I'm going back to you, Marisa. So you were involved in Occupy back in 2011, Global Square in 2013, and many other movements since. So you know, and you've thought a lot about what the squares mean. So what are your thoughts today? What is remaining of the squares and all these ideas that were put forward back in the days? What is that remains today?
Right. Well, I was reflecting in the first part of this video on the space of Wall Street itself as an intersection of different struggles, and that is certainly the case. And there have been many, waves, ripple effects, from Occupy. One of them that's very much related is Black Lives Matter. In the early days of Occupy Wall Street, within the first week, there was solidarity around Black liberation, We were watching at the time Troy Davis sitting on death row in Georgia, and there are all sorts of efforts to try to, get the case reheard, going all the way to the Supreme Court, but those were not effective. There was no legal pathway to actually stop the execution, and he was brutally executed. And so we watched that, and and went to the streets, before Trayvon Martin, before Black Lives Matter even existed. And so the roots are there for sure from 2011 on. It's not an accident that a lot of the same people were out in the streets in years to come. And so I spent a lot of time doing solidarity work, anti-fascist struggles. I mean, certainly since Trump was elected, there has been a real wave of right-wing and even explicitly fascist violence. So we've been trying to counter that as much as possible, both in the very immediate sense of doing counter demonstrations and in the structural sense of, supporting people who are in detention facilities or in prison. There's been a real growth of abolitionist politics from every level of the justice system. And so recently, last week, there was a hunger strike that happened in Jersey in an ICE detention facility. And there was a effort by a lot of people here to support those on the inside, and waves of ICE Watch, essentially, that have been going on. And that was happening under Obama and Trump. So it's a structural thing that we're dealing with, and hopefully can be shifted to some degree. But very likely Biden will continue similar policies, maybe not as overtly, as brutally, but the structures remain. And so anyway, in a lot of ways, this anti-racist and anti-fascist work has continued after Occupy. And I think it's important to sort of reframe Occupy in that way, as a process of decolonization, as a process of liberating space and transforming it into something completely different, and our relationships, because often it's talked about as a very kind of nationalist project, only as a form of left populism leading to the formation of a political party or a candidate, like the Bernie Sanders campaign. And we were very explicitly against political parties and against those kinds of formations. So I just, I wanted to make that kind of intervention and to say that, the work, of course, continues, because we have to undo the logic of U.S. empire and conquest and imagine a totally different way of relating to each other and making decisions. So that's it, I guess.
Great. Thank you for that answer, Marisa. And for stressing out the importance of changing also the narratives and the imaginations. Joy, I go to you. It's great to see you again today. I know you're an activist and also an actor, an artist. Q before was talking about the power of art and art in the streets. And so I would like to know what you think about that, and how, what is the power of arts, and tell us a little bit more about what you are doing also. So we need you to be unmuted, please. You need to unmute yourself, or the host.
Hello.
There we go. Welcome, Joy.
Hi, hello everyone, I'm Joy. Right now, actually, India is actually boiling, as Q mentioned. In 2014, the fascist government came to the power in India. In 2019, they re-elected and formed the second time the government. And in 2020, we saw they're using this COVID situation against the people, and they're making the fundamental constitutional change. They took this COVID situation as an opportunity, and they are changing our constitution. they changed the labor law first, then they changed our marital laws. Like they are absolutely against gays, against any kind of queer activities, everything. And then using this COVID situation, they introduced 3 anti-farmers laws. As you know, that Parliament wasn't open that during that time, and they took that as an opportunity. And using this emergency situation, they introduced these 3 laws. And these 3 particular laws is not only going to destroy our farmers. This is directly going to destroy our food security in our country. Because this government is basically absolutely pro corporates. They are basically using this kind of thing. And another thing is that they are Hindu fascists. It's not like just only fascists. They are Hindu fascists, and their first agenda is to make Muslim people as second-class citizens in our country. So this is the first time we saw, in last 7 years, the first time we saw that across the country, every farmers came together. They are on the streets, lakhs and lakhs, and particularly on 26th, they are going to make a big protest rally. You know that 26th is Republic Day in India. Army, military, they are going to make their parade, and after that, 75,000 tractors and farmers in millions, they are going to join the parade after the military, the army finishes their parade. So this is the biggest spectacle probably going to happen in India on 26th.
So thank you for explaining us a little bit more about what's going on, and that we don't hear enough here in Canada, at least where I am. And this is important to continue this global solidarity. And well, I would like to thank you again for being here with us, and let's continue the struggle together.
Thank you, Carminda, and to all the panelists. We're very proud to have you as a new member of Artists at Risk from India, Sri Lanka, and we very much look forward to working with you in future. This is really an honor. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
So.